At the end of World War I in 1918, Germany was left devastated. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, imposed harsh penalties on the defeated nation, forced to accept full responsibility for the war, stripped of territory and burdened with crippling reparations. The once proud German Empire was plunged into economic and political chaos. Amidst this turmoil, a small, obscure political movement began to emerge, one that would soon change the course of history. In 1919, Adolf Hitler, a former soldier embittered by Germany's defeat, joined a small political group called the German Workers' Party. Founded by Anton Drexler, the party promoted nationalism, anti-Semitism, and anti-communism. Hitler quickly rose to prominence within the group due to his powerful oratory skills, and by 1920, it was renamed the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or Nazi Party. Hitler and the Nazis tapped into the deep resentment many Germans felt toward the Treaty of Versailles and the Weimar government, which they blamed for the nation's humiliation. In 1923, Hitler attempted to seize power through the Munich Beer Hall Putsch, a failed coup d'etat inspired by Mussolini's march on Rome. The putsch failed, and Hitler was imprisoned. Yet his trial provided him with a national platform to spread Nazi ideology. During his time in prison, Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, outlining his vision for Germany's future, including the need for Lebensraum, or living space, in Eastern Europe, and the annihilation of Jews and other undesirable groups. Upon his release from prison in 1924, Hitler reformed the Nazi Party. Learning from past mistakes, he focused on gaining power legally through the democratic process. At the time, Germany was suffering under hyperinflation, with money becoming virtually worthless. In this atmosphere of despair, the Nazis gained followers, appealing to those desperate for change. In 1929, the Great Depression struck, and Germany was hit especially hard. Unemployment soared, and the Weimar government appeared unable to cope. It was during this time of economic collapse that Hitler's message began to resonate with the masses. By positioning themselves as the defenders of German nationalism and the saviors of the working class, the Nazi Party's popularity surged. In the 1930 Reichstag elections, the Nazi Party made significant gains, becoming the second largest party in the German parliament. The Nazis promised to restore order, revive the economy, and rebuild Germany's military might. They also benefited from street-level intimidation, as their paramilitary wing, the SA, frequently clashed with communists and socialists. Despite his party's growing popularity, Hitler still lacked the majority needed to take full control of the government. However, by 1933, the aging president Paul von Hindenburg, under pressure from conservative elites, appointed Hitler as Chancellor of Germany, believing they could control him and use his popularity for their own goals. Little did they know, they had just opened the door to a dictatorship. Once in power, Hitler wasted no time in dismantling Germany's democratic institutions. In February 1933, a fire broke out in the Reichstag building, which the Nazis blamed on communists. Exploiting the fear of a communist uprising, Hitler convinced Hindenburg to pass the Reichstag fire decree, suspending civil liberties and allowing for mass arrests of political opponents. In March 1933, the Reichstag passed the Enabling Act, giving Hitler the power to rule by decree, effectively making him a dictator. Over the next year, Hitler eliminated all opposition, purging political rivals, banning trade unions, and merging the presidency with the chancellorship upon Hindenburg's death in 1934, solidifying his absolute control over Germany. With total power, Hitler and the Nazis began to reshape Germany according to their ideological vision. Political opponents were crushed, the media was controlled, and propaganda became a key tool for spreading Nazi ideals. The regime's racism, anti-Semitism, and quest for racial purity were codified into law with the Nuremberg Laws of 1935, stripping Jews of their citizenship and basic rights. At the same time, Hitler began his aggressive expansionist policies. He rearmed Germany, violating the Treaty of Versailles, and in 1936, remilitarized the Rhineland. The Nazis pushed their ideology of Aryan supremacy and militarism across society, preparing Germany for war. In 1938, the Nazi regime intensified its expansion, annexing Austria in the Anschluss and demanding control of the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia. Western powers, eager to avoid another war, followed a policy of appeasement, allowing Hitler to claim these territories without consequence. But Hitler's ambitions were far from satisfied. On September 1st, 1939, Germany invaded Poland, triggering the outbreak of World War II. The Nazi Party, once a fringe movement, had now led Germany and the world into the deadliest conflict in human history.